all they need to do is put in that number.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone who's logging in. It looks like there's a small technical glitch that some people are experiencing, so we might be slightly delayed in getting started. So Phil, I'm just gonna close my video just for a minute,
Sure.
but you can stay on, and as people log in, you could just let them know that we'll hopefully get this started in about a minute or two.
Okay. And again, all they have to do is hit that number. Welcome, everyone. There's a technical glitch apparently, and Avrami is going to take care of it. Meanwhile, just sign in the chat, say hello, and we'll continue once we get the glitch fixed. Thanks for coming.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. As Phil mentioned, we're just having a little bit of a technical glitch, but we should get started in a moment. In the meantime, we'd love to know where you're from. So if you could leave a message in the chat and let us know where you're logging in from, that would be wonderful. Okay, Phil, if you take a look at the chat, you'll see where
Right.
people are logging in from. Okay, and
I even
I'll be
see-
back in a moment.
Okay. New Orleans, Baltimore. It's my cousin Ronnie from Selma, Alabama. And if you ever go to Selma, Alabama, there's a wonderful temple there that you must see. It's over 100 years old. Beautiful temple. Buffalo, New York, Boca, United Kingdom, Philly. Hamilton, Ontario. Hal Bookbinder from California. You should check out his tips on computing. They're wonderful. I think I sent the link a couple of news notches ago about that. It's terrific. California, Canada, lots of Canada. For those of you in Canada, I took that train trip across from Vancouver to Toronto. Absolutely wonderful. Seattle, Ocean Township, New Jersey. I have a lot of relatives who lived in Lakewood. Maryland. Thank you. From the Czech Republic. Fantastic. Truly an international discussion.
Okay, hi, everyone. Sorry for the delay. It looks like there was a little glitch in the email reminders that were sent. So we got a bunch of email notifications that people couldn't log in. So we're sending out a follow-up email right now. That should just go out very soon. So we'll try to get started in about 5 minutes. I'm really very sorry for the delay and appreciate that you're here. And we'll get started in just a few minutes. Thank you so much.
A few people are saying that the chat is disabled, but it's not. In the Q&A.
The chat is, no, there are people posting in the chat.
Right. But in the Q&A, there was someone that said that the chat is disabled, which it's not.
Okay, that's from Hazel. Hazel, can you try to post in the chat? Oh, here's Hazel. It worked. Okay, that's wonderful. No problem. Okay. We have people here from, I see Hal Bookbinder is on. Welcome.
Right. My friend Ron Winder, who we're having dinner with tonight from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Welcome, Ron.
Very nice. Yeah, thank you, Janet. That's right. What the email included the right link, but it looks like the hyperlink was incorrectly routing. So Thank you. Somebody feed Phil from Ronald Winder.
Right. We're going out for dinner tonight.
You going out for dinner?
Yes.
Enjoy your dinner. You guys
Yes.
have to come to the museum. We have a wonderful cafe here.
Actually, my wife and I and our family are coming to New York in January from our great nephew's bar mitzvah. So hopefully you'll try to stop by and see you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would let everybody know who's on the call that if you're ever coming to New York, please let me know. We'd love to show you around the museum. I'm sure you all know that we're part of the Museum of Jewish Heritage in Lower Manhattan of New York. So it'd be wonderful to show you around, go through the exhibitions. There's a wonderful cafe. So I think, Phil, if you agree, I think we should get started. The email's going out, but it might take a few minutes. So this session is being recorded. So as people log in, we'll just remind them that we're recording this, and they could catch up at the beginning, because for all the people who are on, I don't want them to wait unnecessarily.
Sure.
Okay, so let me just give a very brief intro. First of all, thank you everyone for bearing with us, and we really appreciate it, and congratulations that you made it online. Today's talk is part of our, first of all, my name is Avram Grohl. Privileged to serve as the Executive Director of JewishGen, for those of us who haven't met. And today's talk is part of our JewishGen Talk series of educational webinars, and we are joined by Phil Goldfarb, who is our lead moderator of the JewishGen discussion group, which is what he's going to talk about. He's also the editor of the JewishGen Weekly News Nosh, which I hope you're all subscribed to and getting each week. And just a note before we get started, we will post a message when the recording is live on the discussion group, which we were going to be talking about. So by the end of this session, if you are not on the discussion group, please sign up so that you get notifications of when the recording is live and when future webinars will take place. And of course, with all of the other interesting events that are taking place throughout the Jewish genealogical community. Number two is that I am enabling the live transcription right now. So everyone should be able to read on the bottom of the screen what is happening. And number three, on our YouTube channel, we have recordings of most of the previous webinars that have taken place. So when you have some time, you could take a look and catch up on some of those previous webinars. So again, thank you very much for those of you who joined and stayed with us for this little delay. And now I'm going to pass it over to Phil Goldfarb.
Thank you. Thank you, Rami. Well, all I can say is good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you're watching from, and welcome. Thank you for joining us. And I hope that you find this session to be interesting, educational, and I think we'll have a little fun while we're doing it. If you have any questions at all, please put them in the question and answer section, not in the chat section, and I'll get to those at the end. So let's begin. And the agenda, we're going to talk briefly about all of these things, what the discussion group is all about, how it can help you, advantages of the new platform, rules and guidelines, how to join, group settings, options for group message delivery, how to change an email address or message delivery, 2 ways to post a message, how to find our archival messages and hashtags, how to mute hashtags, how to create an automatic signature, how to reply to a message individually or to the group, why messages are rejected or deleted, success stories, and if you need help or confused, who do you contact? So a lot to talk about, and we'll get right into it. This is my brief bio. I've been doing this for 35 years. I have written a couple books and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about the discussion group. I always put, when I start a meeting, a family without the understanding of their past history, foundation, and their ethnicity is like a tree without roots. And this is in the books that I write and everything that I do. So it's quite true. So what is the Jewish Gen discussion group all about? Well, it unites Jewish genealogical researchers worldwide as you all share information, receive answers to questions, ideas, methods, tips, techniques, resources, and translations. Currently, there are 20,100 discussion group members who will help you, will answer your questions, Maybe you're a relative with them. So it's a great forum. There are over 10,600 messages posted per year on almost every Jewish genealogy subject one can think of. The discussion group is an online forum for researchers of all levels, from beginners to experts. And it's really the place to go for help with a genealogy problem, issue, or question. Some examples. How can it help you? Do you have questions about census records, revision lists, the 1897 All-Russian census? Are you planning a research trip? You can ask people who've been there. Are you looking for a birth, death, marriage, or divorce record? Are you searching for naturalization or citizenship papers? Are you looking for information about military service of your relative? Do you have a question about a ship manifest? Do you need a photo or cemetery visit? People will actually go and take a picture for you. I mean, there's some really wonderful people on this forum. Are you looking for someone to visit an archive for you? Do you need something looked up, whether it's a book or other paid subscription sites? Someone will do it for you. People are really nice on this forum. Do you need help with a name? Are you looking for a particular person or family? Do you want to learn more about a place or even a building? Are you trying to discover your ancestors' travel route? Are you trying to find your ancestors' shtetl or village? Are you trying to understand your ancestors' occupation? Are you looking for probate or property records? Are you looking for help in finding a particular document? Do you need translation help or help in deciphering a word or sentence? Do you have questions about a certain country, how to find their records, or a guide to help you? So these are just a few of the ways the discussion group can help you. So, as Avrami said, be the first as you've joined the discussion group to get all the genealogy news. Learn about Zoom educational programs that you can join at Jewish Genealogical Societies from around the world. Practically every day, there's something about a Zoom individual genealogy society meeting, and you can do that. You find out about it from the discussion group. You can hear about these Jewish Gen talks, which provide programming on various topics from really the leaders in Jewish genealogy. Get updates about the Jewish Online Worldwide Burial Registry, get updates about the new Yisker books and Yisker books and print projects, receive postings and information from the IAJGS Public Records Access Monitoring Committee on various topics, both in national and international Jewish genealogy, and get the latest information on the IAJGS activity, International Association of Jewish Genealogical Societies. So a lot of great information on this site. The platform, they changed the platform. JewishGen changed its platform a few years ago, and there's a lot of features that they've added because of this. Number one, it eliminated the need for plain text, which means you can post and reply to messages from remote mobile devices as well as computers. It's simple, it's secure. The other one platform was not secure, and that's again another advantage. There are other Jewish genealogy sites that are not so secure, and I've heard issues about pornography and things like that. So you know that this one is secure because the moderators will vet every single message that goes out. Also, with this new online platform, you can do attachments, images, hyperlinks, and photos as well. Couldn't do that in the old one. You accommodate text that includes signs and accents from other alphabets. You can add hashtags, and we'll talk about hashtags later on, to index keywords and organize and classify messages by topic. Also, you can mute topics that you don't want. While the main language uses English, you can also post messages or requests for translations in other languages. Couldn't do that on the last one. Archiving capabilities are expanded, and we're going to talk about that. You can include formatted, which is bold, italicized, underlined, accented characters. So how do you join? How do you join the Jewish Gen discussion group? Very simple. First, go to JewishGen.org right here, and then you see connect on the Jewish Gen discussion group. All right. Next, you'll see subscribe down where it says group email addresses. Go to subscribe. and you hit that, you're in. Passwords. When you join the discussion group, you'll be asked to create a password. The discussion group and and this is important, the discussion group and JewishGen websites are separate programs. So you may, you have to have two separate passwords. However, you can make the discussion group password the same as your JewishGen.org password, which makes it easy to remember, or create a different one for both entities, whichever you'd like to do. If you forget your discussion group password, you'll be prompted to create a new one when you log in. Group settings. All members can post to the group. Posts to the group require approval from the moderators. Obviously, no porn, no spam, and we have other rules and regulations. Messages are set to reply to the group, not to individuals. So when you type something in, you're typing back to the group. If you want to type to someone individually, I'm going to show you later on in this program how to do that. Pretty simple. Subscriptions to this group require approval from the moderators, so we just don't let anyone in. So everyone who applies has to go through a moderator. The archive is visible to anyone. I think that's the third time I've mentioned archives, and I'm going to tell you in a few minutes how important the archives is. Only moderators can create new hashtags, and we're going to talk about hashtags as well. Members cannot edit your message. So once you type something in and you send it to be approved by the moderator, you can't edit it. And once the moderator approves it, the moderator can't edit it as well. So you might want to double check before you send something in, and make sure it's grammatically correct, spelling correct, because we're not going to change it. Members can set your subscriptions to various methods. I'm going to show you how to do that in a few minutes. So, and here's the few minute. Email delivery, there's 5 options. Daily summary. This is really the default format for new subscribers and probably 80% of the discussion group participants. And what this means is all posts from the previous day, whether it's new topics or replies, are sent to you in one single message each morning. In this format, all the replies remain connected to the original message, making it easy to follow the thread of the conversation. So this is really recommended. And you get it one time a day. You don't have to worry about all different emails clogging up your inbox. The second way is the full featured digest. That's groups of up to 12 messages are sent to you several times a day. In this format, replies are not connected to the original message, making it a little bit more difficult to follow the thread of a conversation. So, and this full featured digest includes either new topics or replies. So for every 12 messages, you're going to get one of these full featured digests. And that's why personally, I like the daily summary. I like it something once a day, and I read through it to see if there's anything that interests me, and I reply. The third is individual messages, which you can get, and you're going to spend all day looking at your messages, because the average anywhere ranges from 10 to 20 to 25 messages per day. I don't particularly like that because it just, again, clogs up my email box. Special notices only, and this is only, you'll only receive special notices from the moderators from the JewishGen staffs. That's about anything new. Finally, no email. You receive no emails. And this one really bothers me. Why? Because this is called the JewishGen discussion group. It's a discussion group. Why would you check no email if you're joining a discussion group? I don't know, but there are 60 members out of 20,100 who have checked no email. They get no email, they send no email, don't know why they even join. So, but there's 60 people who do that. All right. How do you change your message delivery option or your email? Again, everything, number one, you have to be signed up, and you see your name always in the right-hand corner. That means you're signed in. So on the left-hand side, you'll see members, you'll see messages, hashtags. You'll see your guidelines, new topic if you want to submit a new topic, subgroups, directory, photos. So if you want to change your email address, you go right here and change it. If you want to change your email delivery, you go down a little and change it. So say you're at the full feature digest, you want to change to the daily summary, just go down and hit daily summary. After that, you hit save or whatever you want to do. Again, if you want to change your email address or message delivery, change it and always hit save. Okay, every site, every business has rules and guidelines. The Jewish Gen discussion group is really no different. So topics of moderation, posts should be related to Jewish genealogy. No brainer, right? We don't discuss religious or political issues. We want to try to keep away from political issues. Also in the news nosh, you'll never see, I promise you, anything about politics. I don't know about you, but I'm up to here with politics. You can read about it in various places. It won't be in the news nosh, nor hopefully we're going to keep away from it with the discussion group. The group is moderated to ensure that everything is civil, that posts are related to Jewish genealogy and appropriate for the purposes of the discussion group. Moderate, as I mentioned earlier, moderators will not edit the text of your postings. Any typos or grammatical issues or misspelled words are your responsibility. So composing a message. If you're new to the discussion group, what you should do is just really read some of the posts and replies to get a sense of how the group works. Look at the Jewish Gen discussion group guidelines on posting. The subject line, when you're posting, please use a descriptive subject line so that other members can determine if your message will be of interest to them, and they'll open it and respond. If you don't have descriptive subject line, no one's going to open it. More descriptive you do, people will open it and respond. Subject lines such as help. I'm going to show you some wacky ones in just a few minutes. Help, travel plans, my grandfather, translation, are just a hashtag. It's not descriptive. It doesn't tell you anything. Better would be help needed reading the ship manifest, seeking recommendations for the Belarus tour guide, my grandfather Stein from Warsaw, translation needed in Russian. Moderators may ask senders to modify vague subject lines to add clarity, and we may make minor modifications to the subject lines ourselves. We usually send it back because we don't want to take words out of your mouth. One or two appropriate hashtags should be added at the end of the subject line. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. So some more hashtags. Hashtags are really a powerful tool for indexing, categorizing, sorting, and searching the postings on the discussion groups. It also will help members determine which messages each day might be of interest to them. And I'll be very, very honest. A few years ago, when when we first started doing it, I thought they were worthless. I said, why do you need hashtags? What good are they? Until I really got into it. And they are really, really needed. And we're going to tell you why. So index your message to make it more searchable by typing a relevant location hashtag at the end, such as translation needed Russian, hashtag Russia, or Berlin streets names, hashtag Germany. Note that all are in lowercase. Hashtags are in lowercase. And there's a list of hashtags that you can just pull from. There's 45 of them. Discussion group moderators may add location subject hashtags as appropriate to maintain the usefulness of our hashtags. Only authorized ones should be used. A list of 45 approved hashtags can be found by clicking on the hashtags list link on the sidebar. I mean, people don't make up one of your own. People have put down hashtag nice to be here, hashtag it's Mahjong time, hashtag can you help me? So there's 45 of them, and all the messages are going to that particular hashtag. We assign them. There was someone who tried to post something and he put like 20 hashtags because it thought it went out to all people, all 20 different types of people. No, messages will go out to every single person when you put a message on the discussion group. Where it's stored is where the hashtag is useful. Hashtags can also be used to mute or block certain topics in which you're not interested in to shorten the number of messages that you get. Replies. Consider whether your reply will be of interest to the entire group or only to the sender. And I'm going to show you two different ways how to do it. If you subscribe to the daily summary, you can reply to the sender of a message rather than a group by clicking private at the bottom right side of your reply text box. Again, I'm going to show you all this in screenshots, so don't panic. Don't worry about it. If you subscribe to the full digest, you can either reply to sender or reply to group at the bottom of each posting. I'm sure one of the questions is going to be, why in the daily summary can you do reply to sender or reply to group, but only in the daily summary you can only do reply to the group? And the answer is that's above my pay grade. I don't know the answer to that, why you can only do it in the full digest mode, but I'm going to show you how to do it in the daily summary. So think about this for criteria for replying to the group or replying back to an individual. Okay, you're reading the message, right? If the message could be useful or contain information that other members might find interesting, your message would be approved for everyone to view. However, if it contains information for a singular per individual, then it will be rejected and the member will be told to send it directly to that person. Here's an example. There's someone who wrote, my great-grandmother is Seal, and I think your great-grandfather is Max, who's the brother. Can you help me maybe get our trees together and maybe we can communicate? Well, that should go back to that individual and not back to the entire Jewish Gen discussion group. Okay, so the adage for replies is, would your reply message be of interest to all 20,100 discussion group members or just for the individual? So when you're replying to something, think about that. Signature. It's not an anonymous forum. The Jewish Gen discussion group is not an anonymous forum, so we do require each posting and reply to have a signature, and that's the first and last name of the sender at the end of each message. And this is the number, and I'll probably talk about this. This is the #1 reason why a message gets rejected. Got to have your full first and last name. You might also want to know list your city and country of residence. You can add your email address. And I'm also going to show you how to do this automatically, so you don't even have to think about it. You might want to create an automatic signature, which we'll talk about, including surnames and towns, villages, shtetls that you're searching, so you don't have to remember it in the future. Surname format, it's helpful but optional to use uppercase when typing any of the surnames you are searching. Please don't use uppercase for other words, because using capital letters is the internet code for yelling. When you type an entire subject line or your entire message is in caps, that means you're yelling at the group. So please just do it in lowercase. There's one individual on the Jewish Gen discussion group that has a vision problem, and so we have allowed him to type his questions in uppercase, but just lowercase so you don't yell. Commercial posts. We welcome everyone, including other nonprofit organizations, to share commercial offers as long as they're related to Jewish genealogy and that posting them don't abuse the privilege. Each and every post is reviewed and approved on a case-to-case basis. Commercial posts should not repeat more than once every 3 months. No fundraising posts. We're not here to raise funds for anyone, unfortunately, or fortunately. So don't post fundraising requests for other organizations or countries. They would be rejected. Now, when all that happened with the Ukraine, it was a special situation. So we allowed a few fundraising requests just to show you where to go. But there are probably over 30 organizations now that will take money for Ukraine relief. I've sent it to 3 different organizations, 3 different times. So there are plenty of organizations to send it to and not having to use the discussion group. Image and files, you can attach images and files. If it's too large, we might resize it. We probably won't, but we're going to ask you to upload it somewhere else and provide a link. Language, the official language of the group is English, but we can accept languages and content in most languages. If posting something in a language other than English, please use English for the subject line at least. Links, if posting a link to a website not in English, please provide a description of the content of that linked website. So how do you post? Okay, you've joined, you have something very interesting, you have a question, you need help. How do you post? There's two different ways you can post. You can send your message as an email, or you post your message directly on the discussion group main page. So here are the two ways. You see to the left, here's your home area, new topic. You hit new topic, and then you can post. Down here, group email addresses. It says post right above the subscribe. So here, there are two ways of doing it. New topic or posting. All message, archival message. Okay, if you remember nothing else from this presentation, if everything is over your head, you're not interested, please remember this, what I'm going to tell you right now. All messages are archived back to 1998. It can be searched by the main discussion group page. This is such an advantage over any other discussion group. So you go to your main page, and I'm going to show you this in a screenshot. Just a minute. On the left side, click on messages, then the search button, and you can search by words, names, villages, shtetl, or clicking on hashtags. Remember, I told you hashtags were important. If you want to do a hashtag Ukraine and look at all the archives on Ukraine, you can do that way. If you wish to search for messages within a specific time frame, click the hourglass icon next to the word search. All Jewish special interest groups messages or have been migrated to this platform, except for the SIG. As of yesterday, there were 672,400 messages archived. Again, for anything, you must be signed in. You got to be signed in. And I'll tell you one way that I found it to be useful on a personal level. My ancestors came from a little village called Radiki, R-A-D-E-I-K-I-A-I, in Lithuania. And my cousin Ronnie Lead is also on this chat. And the name back then was Lit, L-I-T. Our great-great-great-great-grandfather came from Lithuania, and in the 1800s, he had to have a new surname. So he was smart. From Lithuania, what surname should I use? Lit. Anyway, I put into the search the name, just the name of the little village, and of course, some trivia. Village, of course, is smaller than a shtetl. A village is 500 people or less. Anyway, I put this Radiki into the search, and lo and behold, it comes up with a Yizkor book mention of this shtetl, and I go this village, and I go into it, and lo and behold, it's my great uncles who are grain farmers, grain merchants. And I read all about this, and I never would have known it if I hadn't gone into the archives, because this was done probably 10 years ago. So again, if you remember nothing else, try the archives. It's absolutely wonderful. So how do you get there? Again, here's a screenshot. Again, you must be logged in, and you go to messages. See where it says messages to the left? Go to messages, and you'll come up with a messages. Go to search. See it right here, search. And here's the time if you want to do a certain time, date. But go to search. Once you go to search, you'll go to a box will open up, and you simply type in what you're looking for, and then hit search. And I've got to tell you, if you don't find something, something's wrong, because truly, out of 670,000 messages, you're going to find something. You're going to find something. So try it. All right. Let's talk about hashtags. The discussion group platform allows members to use hashtags, and they're a great tool for indexing, categorizing, sorting, or searching the postings. The hashtag is what other contexts call the pound sign. It's frequently used feature. You should add regional hashtags to email subject lines. You can add an approved hashtag to the subject line of any email you post. And again, use a regional hashtag at the end of your subject line for any posting that pertains to a particular country or area, such as Germany, Hungary. Again, all in lowercase. If you don't add any hashtags, the moderators will add hashtags. How to mute hashtags. Are there certain topics you have no interest in reading about? Would you prefer not to see messages tagged with these? You can mute hashtags to filter and decrease the number of messages you receive. Clicking on the mute feature, again, I'm going to show you this with a screenshot, allows you to stop receiving messages that are tagged with a certain topic in which you're not interested. Go back to your main page. Remember the main page. Again, you must be signed in. And once you're logged in, you'll click on hashtags in the left-hand column, and hashtag chart will appear, or you can click on see all. Again, don't worry, I'm going to show you this, but I like to show this visually as well as with a screenshot. Click the mute button on any topic you no longer want to read about. You can unmute it, but here is the caveat. If you mute a hashtag, any message containing that hashtag will be muted. For example, if a message has multiple hashtags of Gdansk, records, Poland, and you've muted only Gdansk, you will not receive that message. Again, if you mute a hashtag and it's in another message with multiple hashtags, you will not receive that hashtag. Quite honestly, I don't think you should mute any hashtag, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So here's again your hashtag on your main page, and you'll pull up all 45 hashtags. There are 45 of them. So if you want to mute it, all you do is you hit where it says mute or notified to unmute it. But again, if you mute it and there's multiple hashtags, you won't receive it. So hashtags can be added at the end of the subject line. It must be in lowercase. If you're adding more than one, a space is required. It does it automatically, so don't worry about the space. 2 or 3 hashtags should be sufficient. Like I said, someone tried to put down 10 because they thought it would go to all these different people, but that's not true. It goes to the same people, and it's just for classification only. Please use only the approved and authorized hashtags. See the hashtag chart. Don't make up one on your own. Don't make up hashtag wish I were there, hashtag thank you. And again, for United States, for instance, just put hashtag USA, because there's no hashtag for Brooklyn, hashtag New York, hashtag Oklahoma, hashtag Selma, Alabama. There isn't a hashtag for that. That'll be deleted. And there's currently 45 approved hashtags. And right here, you can see how many topics are in each. And usually the ones that have a lot of topics were special interest groups. So like there was an Austria, Hungary, Czech, Austria special interest group. So there's a lot of topics there you can go back and see. Galatia, 23,000 topics. Education, 343. DNA, 5,000 topics. General, there's 263,000 topics. Hungary, 32,000. Jewish Gen updates, it's the only one in caps, if you notice, 488 topics. Latin America. But again, if you mute any topic, like Latvia, and there's Latvia, Hungary, one other, you won't receive the message at all. And again, lots of topics. So how to create an automatic signature. As I mentioned earlier, the #1 reason for message rejection is a lack of signature, because we're not an anonymous forum. So how do you do it? How do you create an automatic signature? First, you log in, and to be very honest, I haven't logged in 3 years because once I logged in, it just kept my password. So I haven't had to log in at all. So I think once you're logged in, okay, you're okay. Just make certain that your name is in the upper right-hand corner. Scroll down and click on the green login. If you're already logged in, the login button will not appear. You'll be asked for your password again. I haven't had to do it in 3 years. So once you're logged in, you'll see your name in the upper right-hand corner. You must be logged in to create that automatic signature. I'd urge you to do it because, again, probably out of every 10 messages, 1 or 2 are rejected because of lack of your full name. You go to click subscription on the left-hand side of your screen. Remember on the left-hand side, on the subscription page, scroll down to it says signature. To add a signature, check both boxes. Remember I said there are 2 ways to post a message. Use signature for web posting, use signature for email posting. Check both of them. I'm going to show you this in a second. Type your signature in the box below and add your location, email address, family names, where you're from, add any shtetl or village you're looking for. And this is what you'll come up with in that feature. So make sure, again, you check both boxes because there's 2 ways to post. And then type in your name, email address, type in your village shtetl you're looking for, type in any names you're looking for, and then hit save. Don't do all this and not hit save or you won't get it. So hit the save button. I'll go back to that. Okay. JewishGen, subscription, hit both checks, type it in and hit save. Okay. All right. Replying back to the group or to individual. Again, as I mentioned earlier, if the message is useful or contains information other members might find interesting, it'll be approved. If it contains only information for the singular individual, it's rejected, and a member will be told, send it back to the person. You know, if it's about his great-great-grandfather being the sister of your great-great-grandmother, it's not of interest to 20,000 people. It's of interest to that particular person. So another one, we get questions on various Jewish Gen lectures or meetings. Is it being recorded? Is it free? I'm having a problem connecting. I have a hair appointment that day and can't make it. This is my Mahjong time. When else can I view it? These are really honest to God posts that we get. So 20,000 people don't want to know that it's your Mahjong time. Send it back to the individual who posted the information on a lecture. Okay, don't send it back to the entire group. I appreciate, my mother played Mahjong for 50 years. I learned how to play when I was 12, but I don't want to play Mahjong during this time. These messages should be directed back to the individual who posted it and not to the entire discussion group. Check their frequently asked questions. As an FYI, most, not all, most of Jewish Gen talks like this one are recorded and placed on the Jewish Gen YouTube channel the following week. I think there are only a couple that aren't recorded. So how do you reply to messages? 2 primarily formats for receiving the discussion group, as I mentioned earlier, the daily summary report and the digest. Same messages, different formats, different delivery schedules, different ways of replying. If you're among the 80% with the discussion group members, you receive the daily summary once a day. That's plenty. With a list of new topics on the top and then the new replies. If you're still subscribed to the digest, you receive several emails from the Jewish Gen throughout the day, up to 12 messages. You receive numerous throughout the day. Do you know which one you have? And that's key in how to reply. So if you're just getting it once a day, you're in the daily summary. More than once a day, you're in the format. So how to reply to messages. You can reply 3 ways. You can reply to the entire group, reply privately, And also click a like button if you like the particular topic. Remember, the reply button is to everyone. You have to be specific if you want to reply to an individual. So when you click and reply, remember, it's going back to 20,100 people, except for those 60 who put no email. Don't know why. So daily summary. If you don't see a reply, what does that mean? That means you're not logged in. Got to be logged in. You can receive discussion messages without being logged in. You must be logged in to reply. So again, go back to that main page, scroll down to see that green login button that I showed you earlier, and you can be asked for your password again. Once again, I want to remind you that a discussion group password is not the same as your JewishGen.org website password. It can be. You can make them the same. When you're logged in, you see the name in the upper right-hand corner. I'm repeating this because the questions usually come, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Well, you're not signed in. All right, daily summary report. Again, I'm going to show you this on the screenshot as well, but reply to the group, simply hit reply. Type in your reply, reply to the group. If you want to reply privately, to reply to the sender, if the author of the message provided an email address, just write the person directly. If not, click the reply arrow in the lower left-hand corner. After composing your message, click private. Click private at the bottom right of your reply text box. I'm going to show you this. And then click the reply to sender button. So here it is. All right. Let's say you got this message. You want to reply. If you want to reply to all, simply hit reply. Pretty easy. If you want to reply to an individual, to reply to the group, to reply to the group. If you want to reply to someone privately, see to the right-hand side, you hit private. You hit private. You can put in your remarks, and then reply to sender, individual sender. Again, this is private. Reply to sender. I'll go back and show you this again. Okay, you want to reply. You hit the reply button to your left. Or, by the way, here's also the like right here. If you like the subject, you can reply to the group, type in what you want here, reply to the group. If you want to reply individually, you see the private button here to the right, hit the private button, type in your message, and then hit reply to sender. It's really pretty simple once you do it. In the digest format, again, you have replied to the group underneath your message, and reply to sender it says reply to sender. And so again, in this format, you have both. Don't know why it's not in the other. To like a message, same thing. Click the like button. If you don't see a reply or like, what does that mean? You're not logged in. Okay, you got to be logged in. So here's one. Why are messages rejected? Okay, if we reject a few, the number one reason, as I mentioned, the lack of a full name for the guidelines. We're not an anonymous forum. We require each post in reply to have a signature, first and last name of the sender. And again, try to use the automatic signature feature. It makes it so much easier. The number two reason why messages are rejected is that your reply message is personal for an individual as opposed to being of interest to the entire 20,000 discussion group members. So ask yourself the question, do all members need to see this post, or should it be just for that specific person? We don't want to keep you from replying to everyone if there's some interesting information. We want to share information, and that's why it's called a discussion group. So, if it's information, absolutely send it through. If you want to post an article, post a link to it instead of posting the entire article. That might be subject to copyright laws. Okay, when posting, again, why are messages rejected? When posting a request for translation, please put multiple requests in a single post. Let's say you have 4 or 5 translation requests. via ViewMate, put them all in one. Don't put 4 different messages because it keeps the number of messages to a minimum. The subject line doesn't match the content. That is, for example, sending back to a group a daily summary subject line with an entirely new request for personal information. So you're replying to someone who sent something about Ukraine, and now you start talking about, can you help me find a tombstone in New York? Doesn't work. So that'll be rejected. It's just makes sense. Just only having a hashtag or two in the subject line or single word doesn't tell a member what you're looking for. A subject line must be descriptive so that other members can determine if your message is of interest to them. And making a subject line more interesting will have more members open your message and respond. And again, please see the guidelines and look at other subject lines. So here's some actual examples of a bad subject line. Need help? Well, yeah, we all need help. Just posting need help doesn't tell you anything. Posting. Yes, we know you're posting. What are you posting about? Brooklyn, hashtag New York. Number 1, anything in the United States is hashtag USA. Number 2, there's no caps with hashtags. Lost Cohen family. You know how many Cohens are lost? I mean, my God, be specific. How about Abraham Cohen from Radiki, Lithuania? Do you know my great-great-grand? And again, these are all actual examples. Do you know my great-great-grandfather? No, but can you be more specific? Is your great-grandfather Moishe Leet from Radiki, Lithuania? That's specific. I'm searching for my cousin. Well, we're all searching for our cousins, our relatives. Be more specific. Lithuania. Someone put Lithuania in the subject line. Well, do you want the average temperature of Lithuania? Do you want the coordinates of Lithuania? Do you want when Lithuania became a country? Do you want who the leader is of Lithuania? Again, you've got to be specific. Tombstone. Are you looking for Tombstone, Arizona? Are you looking for a tombstone of a relative? Again, you got to be more specific. Translate. Yes, we'll help you translate, but what do you want translated? Do you want a tombstone translated? Do you want a document translated? Do you want a ViewMate translated? Be specific. Information needed. We all need information. What do you need? We're here to help you, but be specific. Searching is another subject line. Someone just put searching. You could be searching for 1,000,001 things, but you've got to be specific or no one is going to open it. Jewish name. Yes, we can help you find a Jewish name or translate it, but be a little bit more specific. If someone just put in 1914 as a subject line, were you looking for when the World War I started? Were you looking for who was the president of the United States in World War I? Were you looking for who the King of England was in 1914? Again, you got to be more specific on what you want. Messages deleted by the moderators. We do delete a few. If they're duplicate, some people didn't think they're posted it and they duplicate it, so we delete it. A message was just a thank you, great, yes or no. It's not substantive. It takes up a member's message and it be deleted. So someone just puts thank you, it's going to be deleted, unfortunately. Right back to that person if you want to thank them. Message with no content. Some people just put a blank in there with their name. Inappropriate messages, non-genealogical, genealogical, or even close messages. All right. So when I first did this presentation, I asked for some success stories. I got about 200 replies, and I just picked a few of them that I thought you might find interesting. Some of them are fun. So here's one. I discovered my father had been switched at birth with an Irish boy. Once I was able to locate him through DNA, I wasn't able to find the married names of his first 3 cousins, all females. No sooner had I posted my brick wall on a discussion that a reader found one of the daughter's marriage record. From that clue, I was able to trace the family 100 years to the present and was able to meet Dad's paternal side. I went from having no knowledge of Dad's family to having a full tree. This is someone from Vancouver, Washington. I've had so many success stories by posting on a discussion board. I was looking for information on the name and offspring of the superintendent of the apartment building my father lived in Vienna prior to the war. We wanted to honor her at Yad Vashem with a righteous Gentile. She hid Jewish families in a roof and cellar during the Nazi regime. By posting on the discussion group, I found a resident of Vienna who helped us find out what her name was and helped us find her great-grandson. He knew about her deeds and had known his great-grandmother. We recently had a Zoom conference with this woman's descendants. That's wonderful. When I started my search for more relatives, I just learned that my father's family was Jewish. This is when I was in my late 40s. My post on a discussion group led to information about my family and discovering previously unknown to me, first cousin of my father living in Florida. We were able to connect, and my husband and I visited her in Florida a few times before she passed. She told us many stories and helped fill in information about her and my father's large family in Germany. Several years ago, I was stuck on one branch of the family with a fairly common name. I searched the archives with the maiden name of the wife. I found one posting from several years before. And again, the archives is phenomenal, and contacted that person, a direct descendant. Treasure troves of letters and photos followed. This cousin has subsequently gone to Europe and done research that has given us many new and exciting generations back to 1700s. One day I was on a discussion group and I really didn't know what possessed me to write to someone with just a researcher number. Perhaps it was they listed a familiar town. So I spilt my kishkas. That reminds me of my grandmother. I spilt my kishkas out, and I love this, and wrote down my grandmother's name, my grandfather's name, my dad and uncle's names, and anything else I had. I got back a quick response saying that her grandmother and mine were first cousins and that her mom and I were cousins. I was then able to trace that whole bunch of family and connect them to my known cousins. And I just, again, I love this one because she spilt her kishkas. So you can spill your kishkas as well on the discussion group. We will let that slide go through. Just found out that my great uncle survived Buchenwald and returned to Riga in 1946. Today's Jewish Gen discussion group email mentioned that the United States Holocaust Museum added 3,493 new names from Riga to the Holocaust survivors database, and it had my great uncle in it. This person wouldn't have known it if he hadn't been on the Jewish Gen discussion group. All this time I thought he was murdered, as the last record I had from him was November 44, and he was transferred to Buchenwald just a few days after his brother was murdered at the same place. So if this individual hadn't been on the discussion group and learned about this new addition, he never would have known. In 2019, I posted a query about a great uncle on my mother's side and hoped that someone would contact me. I never did hear from a relative, but a member found and emailed me his marriage certificate. I was thrilled to see that it recorded his parents' names. I already knew my 3 times great grandfather's name from a family tree that my father grew up in. Father drew up in the 1950s when my grandfather was still alive, but he didn't remember his grandmother's name. Thanks to the member, I now have it. I love how people pitch in and help, even if it's not their own family. And again, one other reason to use the Jewish Gen discussion group. A few years ago, a researcher contacted me and turned out to be a Hungarian great-grandson of one of my maternal grandfather's older brothers, who were all completely unknown to me. He's a second once removed. The member spent several years searching in New York for my mother's brother, who had changed his name, had died. We were able to meet with my first cousin, also born in Hungary, and they chatted briefly in Hungarian, which my cousin had not used since his childhood. I've hooked up with a grandson of my grandfather's brother, a second cousin who's PhD in Jewish history. He had found me on a discussion group. We collaborated and continue to collaborate in reconstructing the family tree. He on the family members who did not immigrate from the Soviet Union, and I on the family members who came to America. Had I not participated in the discussion group, my family tree on my paternal grandfather's side would not be half as inclusive as it is now. This person from Israel. I think this is the last one. In September, I posted a query on the discussion group, how to go about researching family that had immigrated from Rovno to Israel. I provided info and attached a photo. A Jewish Gen, Good Samaritan, replied. He did a bit of research, informed me that on the Israel website, it listed my relative in the 1928 Tel Aviv census, and also sent a photo of his headstone in the cemetery. After several emails, an hour-long phone call, and more input on my ancestry tree, I found the descendants of the missing family. The floodgates were open. So many questions answered. Still many months later, I'm still in discovery with my newly found cousins from New York City, New Jersey, Scottsdale, Arizona, and Israel. It all started with a photo and a Good Samaritan for the Jewish Gen discussion group. Thank you. I love this one too. 16 years ago, when I returned to my hometown, I started my journey. I entered my grandmother's name in town on the discussion group. I shortly received a note from the manager of the Hungarian SIG. There are not any more SIGs, and everything's on a discussion group. He sent me births in Tarkle, and lo and behold, he said, would you like to transcribe records for Tarkle? He sent me births, and lo and behold, there was my grandmother's birth in 1879. I cried and cried. Then I found her brothers and found her parents. I promised myself that I wanted to make people cry like I did by transcribing vital records. I'm still doing that every day. I love this person. Lois Livik in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. I think this last one. One day I decided, there's so many success stories. I decided to research the archives for the name Garber, the name of grandparents, descendant tree I've worked on for decades. 220 hits in the archives, more than I wanted to read. So I looked only at the titles. Again, that's why titles and subject lines are so important. One title grabbed my attention: searching for Garbers in Canada or US. I had descendants in both countries on my tree. The writer wrote that his grandfather was one of 4 brothers, gave their names. I had 6 brothers on my tree. 4 of them had the same name, so I wrote them. He responded immediately from Russia and sent me a picture with the brothers. He didn't realize that the other 2 brothers had gone to Canada. He put the message into the discussion group because he wanted to leave Russia and come to the United States. We bought tickets for him and his wife to travel from Moscow to Chicago for a family reunion. A few years ago, he finally was able to emigrate from Russia to the United States to get a green card. He's now working in the Boston area. Last one. I love this one too. My cousin was having difficulty finding information about his paternal grandfather. He was told that his grandfather died around 1918, but couldn't find any information regarding his death. My asking for assistance on a discussion group led me to learn that his grandfather had murdered his lover and was executed in Sing Sing prison for the crime. Interestingly, just before his execution, in his last words, he blamed his lover for being so enticing that he had no control over his actions. Marilyn Robinson from Southeast Florida. Love that one too. All right, so let me just tell you briefly about the moderators. We're all volunteers. Essentially, our mission is to confirm that all messages that we approve adhere to the guidelines. Moderators can approve, edit, or reject the message or delete a message. We approve all the message, and there's only 3 of us. The 3 of us, we look at 10,500 messages. Myself, I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, originally a Jersey boy, president of the Jewish Genealogical Society of Tulsa. Stephen Jones from Weston, Florida. I think he's spending some time in Alabama. And Jessica Feinstein from Oxfordshire, England. And because Jessica is in England, she takes care of a lot of the messages that when Stephen and I are sleeping. So, do you need help? You're confused? We have a great support team. Great support team. Again, we're all volunteers. Just write support@JewishGen.org. And my personal email address, if you want to contact me personally, phil.gofarb@cox.net or pgofarb@JewishGen.org. That's on the whatchamacallit, on the Newsnosh. And now we'll answer some questions that you have. All right. No, there is not a handout. Sorry. You can see the presentation again on discussion Jewish Gen Talks. Let's see. Excellent information. It's not printed anywhere, but again, you can go back and read it. I read the subject and often read the letters, but don't know how to find the responses. If you have the daily summary, the responses are below. It says replies. Is there a way to have the subject line for translation requests? Is it right to have the subject line for translation requests include the subject surname? I think someone should put the surnames in the subject line. It makes it much easier. I showed how to omit a hashtag. I showed how to do that and how to get it back. There's no transcript. It's recorded. There are no plans to start SIGs again. Avrami, I think you agree with that.
It's
Must
not
be
we have it. It was just renamed the research division, but that
right.
functions.
One of the questions, must you be logged onto the discussion group to search the archives? Yes. We got to remember, JewishGen.org and the JewishGen discussion group are separate entities. They're separate. When adding an ancestral town to our signature, do we use the current name or province?
Phil, I just want to just clarify. We hope to have a single sign-in. We don't have it right now, but that is the goal.
Okay. We don't have time to talk about ViewMate. That's for another discussion. Let's see. If you need help, go to the discussion. Go to the support at JewishGen.org. Okay, I'll stop sharing this. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Chat question. Any other questions? All right. Again, if you need help, wondering about sharing my email address with 20,000 strangers, you don't have to if you don't want to. Your email address is private unless you put it down for someone to respond to you. I need a lot of help, but don't want to bother you. Please don't bother me. There's a support group for that. Support at JewishGen.org. Did you say that capital letters are needed for a surname? You don't have to have capital letters, but that's the only reason you should use capital letters, because capital letters is screaming. Let's see. Again, have any issues about changing from a digest to daily summary and you can't do it yourself, contact the support group. Pretty easy. Finding it difficult to get into Family Finder. Please verify your account information. Again, Family Finder is on JewishGen.org. We're talking about the JewishGen discussion group. For most of these questions can be answered by the support.
Okay, maybe we'll take one more.
That's probably it.
Okay.
I couldn't see a list of hashtags. Where can I find that? Left-hand side of your main page. It says hashtags. Okay. I think we're over time.
Okay, Phil, thank you very much. This was very informative and gave people a lot of information about how more effectively utilize the discussion group. And of course, thank you to you and your team for moderating and going through all these thousands of messages. The JewishGen discussion group is one of our primary tools to connect and create a JewishGen community of researchers around the world who, as you said, are able to help one another and to connect with one another and to share advice and to ask questions. So we thank you very, very much for all that you do every day, all the time. It seems like you're always seemingly available to
My pleasure.
make
It's my way of giving back. As I tell everyone, it's my way of giving back because JewishGen helped me finding my relatives. I wouldn't have found them without it.
Well, thank you very much. That also goes to all the many, many volunteers who fuel JewishGen and make it what it is today. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us and appreciate your understanding with the little delay at the beginning. For any of you who joined late because of that, and for anybody who would like to watch this again, the session is being recorded. We're going to put it on our YouTube channel, hopefully within the next couple of hours, and we will send out an email when it's live and also post it on the discussion group. So of course, if you're not already on it, make sure you're on it after this call, after this webinar. Along with the link to the recording and the email will be a survey. If you could please fill it out. It just takes a couple of minutes. Let us know how you enjoyed the presentation. If you have any ideas for what we should do in the future, we would greatly appreciate it. Next week's JewishGen Talk will focus on researching Jews in America as part of our continuing series. The topic is American Synagogue Records as Genealogy Resources. It's a panel discussion from the various rabbinic seminaries and their repositories for a primer on where to find synagogue records, what genealogical material they include, And you can also hear about the launch of Jewish Gen's Newell Shul Records America, the very first of its kind inventory of American synagogue records. I will encourage all of you to join. It should be a very interesting, informative, and exciting presentation. So I thank you all again for joining. Phil, thank you again, and wishing everybody a
pleasure.
wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you.